To begin our day, we have a panel discussion with local coordinators. It will be moderated by Mr. S.V. Raman, who is the president of Bichitra Pathshala. So we kindly invite you, sir.
Yeah, wonderful. Good. So what I would do is I would probably start, to be very impartial, start in the alphabetical order of the first names, right? No geographical region preferences and so on, because otherwise they will say, "Ha, Raman naam hai, South ko pehle bulaya." Ha, theek hai. So let me start with Lavanya.
Good morning, everybody. It was a wonderful pleasure, definitely a learning experience for us to have got this opportunity. I'm actually representing Dr. Revati from Anna University, and I was also helping her out with the experience of doing it in Vizag along with Saraswati. So at the outset, approaching schools and the principals was a major issue, because Dr. Revati faced a very big problem to get the venue. For almost a month or something like that, she was chasing one or two schools. In fact, they were interested initially, but we don't know what went wrong. Luckily, thanks to Mala Rao there, I approached her to go to her school, and when I mailed her with all the details, and she shared it with her principal, and they were very happy immediately the next day. So there is both the flip side and the wonderful. So I think it's just your luck, or I don't know how to go about it. The education department helped there. They were really open to receiving this workshop.
Education department of the
Tamil Nadu, yes,
okay.
yes. So we were actually looking at 30 to 35 participants, and I think we ended up with 39. Because in other centers, even getting 30 was a little difficult because of the timing maybe. And then there were about 39 participants because of the overwhelming response to this from the education department. The secretary, he had personally sent letters to the schools. What I thought was the technical skills of editing, taking the clippings and all that, if a little more time, whichever part of the workshop it is, if there's one more part which is given, because that is the best takeaway. The pedagogy is there, the idea is very good, the concept is very good, and it's a huge learning. But the very tangible part of the workshop is the technical skill.
We'll move on alphabetically now to Pyandak from Shillong, yeah?
Colleges in Shillong with schools, they have these facilities. I mean, they've been doing this. But to learn those techniques for a 30 or 40-year-old person is very hard. I mean, that is the first thing which we found with the teachers, sitting in the session for one day. It took them a lot of time to learn about how to make a PowerPoint, how to go about doing videos in Movie Maker, how to edit videos, how to take photos from Google. So, but it was a good learning experience for them. At the end of the day, when we had the presentations, I guess, ma'am, right? All of us, we had a good time, and that was a very positive response we got. If we're trying to, inculcate this thing, a cinema in classroom, I guess, the first thing when it comes to cinema, it has to be dramatic. Otherwise, you won't get the attention of the class. If it's another PowerPoint presentation, anybody can do it. But if it's cinema, you're trying to project a Shah Rukh Khan on the screen. You're trying to make a plan to look like Shah Rukh Khan. That's how you enthrall students to look at it. So I feel if you can learn these techniques, if you can, inculcate more of these techniques of how to make it more dramatic to students, they can just easily capture that. I guess that will be better in the near future. And if training as such are, carried out in that way, more on concentrating on, just making a PowerPoint or something, if you can inculcate more of the teachers on how to create an actual movie, I guess that will be much better for the teachers.
Now we will move on alphabetically to Rahul. Rajini, you could take this microphone or that microphone. Yeah.
So the biggest hindrance in Darjeeling for us to organize the seminar was the date itself. We were asked to organize this in the first or the second week of November, but it so happens that Diwali and Dussehra are the main festivals in our part of the country, in West Bengal. So we had a tough time trying to fit in the dates between Diwali and Dussehra, and since the schools in the hills, they follow this winter pattern where the school starts usually in February and March and ends at November or December. So at the very back end of having to host this seminar in November was a big challenge because most of the schools themselves were going for their final term examinations and we had to fit in the dates between the festivities. So that was the biggest challenge we had in Darjeeling. Moreover, as Sir has rightly put so, my fellow panelist from Shillong, whenever we talk about cinema in classrooms, we have this idea about smart boards. So those schools, those government schools in fact, and even some private schools who haven't been able to introduce smart boards in their schools were hesitant to send their teachers. And most of the teachers, as you know, I would like to use the word, but as one of the principals to whom I had approached personally to send his teachers to the seminar, used the word dinosaur, that they have not been exposed to computer themselves, they do not even know how to use Microsoft Word in this information technology age of ours, was very hesitant to send the teachers. So I think the name itself could have been a bit more inclusive of everything, so that the teachers do not be hesitant to attend the seminar for the lack of knowledge of the computer skills itself. And moreover, as ma'am has kindly said, since the first impression is the last impression, what we could is that if we can have a small technical session in the first day itself, so that the interest of the participants are infused in the first day itself. It so happened in Darjeeling that since we had the seminar on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, the teachers, they had to skip schools on Friday. And they did not want it to come on Saturday and Sunday as well because it was in between the festivities. So those teachers who came on the first day, they somehow did not find it very enthusiastic for them to come on the remaining 2 days as well. But those who came on the second day, they were so happy. They were so happy that they attended the seminar. If we can have just that bit of the technical session on the first day as well, so as to show that what the remaining 2 days will also ought to be, that would be more productive, I suppose. And the word cinema, as we can also like use the name of Shahrukh Khan, when we went about explaining things to the principal, asking them to send the teachers, we said this is cinema in classrooms. So their first reaction to that was, oh, so this is Bollywood. So are you going to use Amir Khan stills and Shahrukh Khan, Amitabh Bachchan to show chapters? How is this going to help me? How are you going to teach geography with Amitabh Bachchan?
I will reiterate the point already mentioned by Lavanya ji, the 2 points, and I won't elaborate them. One, about awareness program for principals. Okay, we can't do without that, because I had responses from certain schools where principals went ahead and said that कि हमने school ये सब करने के लिए नहीं खोला है. So means you can see a direct disconnect in the way a teacher is looking. You are offering something free of cost for education of the teachers and of the students, but the principal directly saying हमने school ये सब करने के लिए नहीं खोला है means there's a clash in the even your perspective about what we are doing and why we are doing. The second point about sending teachers is again then related to principals. And third thing which he mentioned about the smart schools. So since smart schools have come as a package, you know, all Educom and these kind of companies have certain set package which is used in different schools. So they thought this is same. But when you explain them, it's not same, and you can do it without any resources, and you can do it from films from YouTube, and you can shoot from your mobile and things like that. Then the amount of belief in it goes, right? As far as the sessions are concerned, I've already inserted it in my report, but the student session was a slight disconnect in the Lucknow workshop. The first day, because the student session comes in very soon. You have the inauguration, launch, and then soon post lunch you have the student session, and teachers don't have a sense of why they are sitting there, right? So all my 3 sessions were focusing on communication, concentration, and yoga, where I chose to keep yoga on the 3rd step and communication on the 1st, and the link between both through concentration.
And now, in this context, I would like to ask you, does that word cinema put them off? Do they think ये सब करने के लिए हमने स्कूल नहीं खोला है, as you said? Is that word cinema putting them off? Are they also associating cinema with that kind of a thing and saying ये सब करने के लिए हमने स्कूल नहीं खोला है?
So the sense that I get from the Lucknow experience is not that, because unlike where he mentioned about Shah Rukh Khan, because I remember that clipping was used in the Lucknow workshop where generation of hydroelectricity was taught through Swadesh's clipping. That was another thing. The idea that everybody wants to get in and do something, so you have these smart classes approaching them, you have NGOs approaching them, you have school. So what is it that you have to offer them, and how is it different? And how it is valuable for them. Unless they don't see a value in it, they will not accept it. Because they will think this is just another workshop.
And then even though you said this was a free workshop, some teachers were not motivated enough. Now, here at this point I want to ask you, is that a reason that some teachers do not want to do anything beyond school hours unless it is compensated in some way? Even if the workshop is free, that the time that we are giving to attend the workshop to benefit the school, do they look at it that way, that I should be compensated if I go and attend the workshop?
Sir, if I may say so, I have been a teacher for 22 years. I've worked abroad also. So when it comes to your weekend, like let's take it for example, a teacher is working from Monday and you have a program during the weekend, which I suppose all these teachers are involved today. So they work through to this week for 14 days, I suppose, 10 days or 14 days they are working. So that is why maybe some of them are not motivated enough.
No, you can respond directly to this. Yes, they don't want to spoil their weekends unless they are compensated for it.
I can't say that, sir. How can I speak on
your apprehension? I'm
apprehensive. I sympathize with some of them because they also have their own
Because
lives.
we have to look at the practical side of things. There's no
Yes.
point in being diplomatic and covering up things sometimes, to make it everything politically acceptable to everyone.
So one more thing, it was a 3-day workshop. When I approached a few schools, they were unwilling to send for 3 days. They said if it was a 2-day workshop, it would have been fine. There was one school, Shivani.
Okay, so that is another suggestion.
Yeah.
Which we can take
She
in
said
that
if it's
3
possible.
days, setting teachers free for 3 days is difficult for certain
Yes.
schools. If it is 2 days, they find it
Easy.
better
And
to-
we could keep Sunday off. Like have it on a Friday and a Saturday. So at least one day, Sunday, the teachers get for themselves.
I think we will wind up this session here. Thank you all the panelists for all your inputs, and you people also for all your inputs. And I hand the microphone over to the MC. Yeah, thank you.